Hello and welcome to The Appointment. I am Pranjal Sharma. Joining me today for a conversation is Sujoy Ghosh, who is the country head India for First Solar. Sujoy, thank you for being with us today. You are amongst the biggest solar companies in the world. Tell us a little bit about what First Solar has been doing in India so far.
Thanks, Pranjal, for having us on the show. First Solar started off its India journey in December 2011. We have two lines of businesses. Primarily in one, we sell our modules to other developers, and additionally we also create utility scale solar projects by bringing in our equity and building projects and de-risking them from a construction, financing and technology standpoint. Today we are one of the largest providers of technology in the Indian market. We have 1.3 gigawatts of installed thin film solar modules in the country. Out of that, about a gigawatt of that capacity has been what we sold to other developers starting from 2011, and more recently, beginning of 2014, we started to develop our own assets.
You said that you're also developing solar power, but give us a sense and understanding of when you say you are making modules for solar generation. What does it mean for a person who's not aware of what solar panels are all about?
Our company makes what is called thin film solar modules. Right. 80% of the world's solar modules are made using silicon as the core semiconductor material. First Solar uses a very different semiconductor called cadmium telluride, which we use in very small quantities, doping a very thin film of that product onto a piece of glass, and it is photosensitive, which means that when light falls on the panel, it produces electricity. The electricity produced is in DC, and then if you're using these panels for generating power and selling it to the grid, you use inverters and other equipments to convert to AC and then inject energy into the grid, right? Our technology remains differentiated, A, from the material usage, but B, the semiconductor also responds much better in Indian climatic conditions, which are hot and humid. So typically all semiconductors degrade when they're subject to high temperature, which is why if you look at your computers and other devices, you need cooling to.
But you don't need that.
No, none of the panels need that, because they're meant for outdoor operations and they're meant to actually see the sun for the best part of the day. But all these panels degrade, their conversion efficiency degrades when they're subjected to higher temperatures. Our technology degrades at a rate which is half of conventional silicon, and then it responds much better to diffuse light and also to light which is coming through the moisture in the atmosphere, which is what you see on cloudy days.
When you started in India, what kind of momentum did you have, and in the last few years have things changed radically for you? You say that you have the largest share in the Indian market. How difficult or exciting has been the journey?
The journey in India has been very exciting for us. We came into the country, as I said, around the later part of 2011, which was the time the first round of the National Solar Mission was being bid out. The then program was to build about 10 gigawatts of solar capacity in 7 years' time. After 2014, when the new government came in, they scaled the program up to 100 gigawatts. And this kind of dramatic scale up in demand, backed by complementary changes in policy and regulation, at least at the central level, has made India one of the fastest growing markets for solar in the world today. That's the first good thing about India. The second thing is, for us, our technology, given the differentiated material we use, performs much better as compared to conventional solar panels in Indian climatic conditions, giving us about 5 to 9% higher energy for the same capacity installed in India. And that helps us to demonstrate a lower life cycle cost to our asset owners.
In these 5 years, how has the atmosphere changed for you in terms of your client base, your own generation? What would you say have been the milestones?
The major turning point was August 2014, right, when the Modi government came in and they scaled up the solar program to 100 gigawatts. I think that was a significant turning point for India, for not just the solar industry internationally, but also for the utility industry in India, where you suddenly had renewables come into the mainstream. So all the thinking around transmission capacity and how do you do your regulations to enable this kind of growth in renewables underwent a lot of change.
So when you say thinking changed, where did the thinking change? Did it change in the state electricity boards? Did it change in the existing power utilities? Did it change in the minds of the investors, consumers? Where did all this change happen?
Across every aspect of the value chain, across all of those elements, what you said. Primarily, the thinking changed first at the central government level, where the central government came out with a larger plan. But India, as you know, power is a concurrent subject, so the bulk consumer of power is the state electricity boards. And so we saw a lot of the states and the political establishment in the states also aligning themselves to the central government's plan for this kind of sustainable development.
Did that surprise you?
It did not. And the reasons are very simple, right? I mean, if you look at 2014, we were having major concerns around energy security, given the fluctuating prices of coal, the low production of coal, and the fact that we were over-dependent as a country on baseload thermal generation coming from coal. In addition to that, there were challenges which was being encountered by everyone around the impacts of global warming. And I think the third thing was that we had a problem of energy access in India, where we had a significant amount of our population living without access to energy. And solar, in particular, renewables in general, did address some of these concerns, which was very typical for India. And I think, so therefore, we saw a lot of states quickly aligning their own renewable procurement obligations to match what was the target set by the center.